passion. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We can't go on, man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right there's let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch me, I'm please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
This is so very not me the entirety of my career. I've always sort of dismissed people who dismiss others as haters, saying that allows you to never do any introspection when you can just dismiss someone who's criticizing you as a hater. But I realized last night, and it's one of the first times this has ever happened to me, I've got a little bit of hater in me. I enjoyed what happened to Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Bucks lost to Memphis, and they're now 3-7 under Doc Rivers. Portland's terrible. Portland is one of the worst teams in the league, and it's not like the Heat are great, but I derived more enjoyment from watching the Bucks lose last night to the Grizzlies than I have from any Heat game this season. Mike, why are you standing like some sort of silverback gorilla back there?
I'm still like trying to get adjusted to life out of the EP chair, and the musical chairs game ended up with me sitting next to Tony, but Tony doesn't like to sit down. He pulls this alpha dog shit.
They're having a contest to see who's taller.
And as you know, I don't like being not the tallest person in the room. So, like, it's a thing now. Like,
now we're here. Okay, so you weren't even reacting. I thought you were uncomfortable.
No, it's just like if you're gonna try to play me like that, I'm not gonna be a willing participant in that. Like,
but he's taller than you.
No,
is he
isn't. No one is.
Back to back.
Jack.
Billy, are you taller than both of them?
No, I'm not. I also don't want to stand. I'm not taking a quiz.
No one's taller than me.
It's one of Greg Cody's best moves. Jeremy, can you just get me some names? I want to quiz the room on a couple of things. Sports experts, first of all, before we get to this Memphis Grizzlies roster, this is what I want to quiz the room on. There was a fight in the NBA a couple of nights ago. These are usually pretty newsworthy, where a player for the Detroit Pistons punched another player. I want more details. I want more news. I want to understand more about this story. But I think that between all of us, we would have trouble naming the two players involved in this fight. So does the room want to take a shot at who the two players are that were involved in a fight in which one of them, a Detroit Piston, punched another? Jeremy?
I mean, I know the puncher. I don't know the punchee. The puncher is someone who's been known to sort of fly off the handle.
Yeah,
Mike Ryan is standing on a chair next to me, and I'm really nervous
Isaiah
about it.
Stewart, I'll give the people that one. Detroit Piston is the one who threw the punch. I don't know. These things come with ramifications. I'm more laughing at the fact that two NBA players got into a fight in the tunnel, and if this had been two stars, we'd still be talking about it 2 days later, and I don't think a sports show can name both the players.
Anybody else want to take a guess? Isaiah Stewart. I mean, I know Isaiah Stewart from when he's the one he punched. He's the one who ran after LeBron a couple of years ago when he was with the Detroit Pistons and LeBron on the Lakers.
It's as rabid as anyone has ever wanted to actually fight LeBron.
Correct. And so this, I imagine, he probably went after someone who would be an equal level of importance, right? If he was throwing a punch?
I don't know who Drew Eubanks is.
Drew Eubanks.
I need more information about why it is.
You made that name up.
I'm rattled after not knowing who Kuminga was yesterday.
Yeah. Put it on the poll, please,
What?
at Le Batard Show. I thought the Brooklyn Nets were good a few months ago. Drew Eubanks, put it on the poll. NBA player or game show host? At Le Batard Show. Give me the names of some of the Grizzlies on that roster that beat the Bucks yesterday. What is going on with the Bucks? I know
they don't play defense, Dan.
I know, but they're supposed to overcome it with two overwhelming offensive players, and their defense got bad just because Damian Lillard got there.
Yeah, that's right. Their defense is horrendous. The team they lost to last night in the Grizzlies, these are the names of the players on the team. Santi Aldama.
He's good.
Zaire Williams. Trey Jemison.
They play hard. The Grizzlies play hard.
Jemison had a nice hook shot in the early
Kurt
quarter.
James. Jordan Goodwin. Vince Williams Jr. Daniel Lorenzen. Lamar Stevens. Gigi Jackson. Patrick Monahan. Yuta Watanabe. And Jake Gilliard. And what all of you didn't notice is that 3 of those names were fake. One of them was the lead singer of Train.
What?
Wow.
Gigi Jackson is the player who got
He's real.
Yes, I know. He got all lightheaded, though, because TNT was even talking to him, right? He had that odd moment earlier this season where he just got interviewed by Shaq and Barkley and couldn't believe that he was in a situation where he'd arrived at his dream.
He had a game yesterday, huh?
He also had a
27 points.
quote earlier in the season where he said, "I try to be as coachable as possible. My high school coach called me a sponge back in the day," and then stopped and said, "Well, not back in the day. That was like 2 years ago."
I'm going to show you a picture of Drew Eubanks, and I believe this photograph of Drew Eubanks will tell you that the reason he was punched in the face is it's because what we all want to do. It's just his face.
Merman.
He just has a face that you want to punch. Can you, Chris Cody, please get me some details? It's been 2 days. There have to be some reported details on why an NBA player in the tunnel punched another NBA player in the face. Tony, come down to the microphone and tell people what you're doing Saturday. And also, I want to talk to you for a second about being Cuban, because I was a bit startled by the number of Cubans I ran into in Las Vegas.
Dano, startled, yes, very startled, by the way. We'll get to that in a second. But UFC 298, the MMA Hangout will be live at El Vecino Cocktail Bar right here in downtown Miami, very close to the Kaseya Center and the Elster, very walkable. We're going to be out there starting at 10 o'clock with me and the MMA Hangout and some friends. So that'll be a very exciting Saturday.
YouTube, people will be able to get it on YouTube.
Saturday, 10 o'clock, we'll be going live on YouTube to the remainder of the fight. So that's Saturday. And then, Dan, in Las Vegas, I went out and I was going about the town, took an Uber over to the strip from where we were in downtown. And I was with Bimmel, our COO, right?
You put 3 O's in there, I think.
COO?
I think that you made him a COOO.
C-triple-O?
He said COOO.
Oh, because I didn't know really what it was. He's CO,
He's
right?
their chief
COO.
operating officer.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yes.
so me and him went out to a little happy hour, a little mixer. We were
Look
hanging
at
out.
Tony getting the one-on-one invite with
doing-
Bimmel.
doing a little something.
I'm not gonna lie. I heard that. I was like, "Where's my invite to that?"
Well, you were doing something else that left me doing a 45-minute show after the live show by myself, and Roy came in 20 minutes after that.
I was
So-
at Mina's podcast.
Yeah, so as you were doing that, I was doing another show after the show we had already done.
I said I had a thing, but you should probably take Tony.
Yeah. Well, I got the sloppy second invite, which is okay. But as we were on our way back from the strip over to the Circa, we get into an Uber, and I hear the guy playing low salsa music. And I'm like, okay, maybe he's just a salsa fan, whatever. Me and Bim were in conversation. We're talking. We're doing this and that. And then we get off at the Circa. Yeah, we're just hanging out, talking.
Every single Uber I got into in Vegas had a Cuban driver. Every single one.
Well, to my surprise, Dano, as I'm getting out, I hear the salsa music, and I go, oye, gracias, and he kind of whips his head around, and he's like, who are you? Where are you from? And I go, soy cubano, eres cubano. And he goes, sí? And all of a sudden, Dan, it brought back to my memory that there is a Cuban in every country in the world. Did you know that? Did you know that?
I don't know.
No, now I'm telling you. Now you know. So,
It feels made up.
no, absolutely not.
We are absolutely taking over.
Yeah.
When we're going to infiltrate every GOAT you've ever seen before. Madonna has a Cuban kid. Michael Jordan has Cuban kids. Tom Brady's living in Miami. It's just a matter of time before he has Cuban kids.
Also, Nevada's a state, not a country.
No, but that's not the point. The point is what I'm about to say, right? So another example, even though it's within the country, I went to a vacation in Hawaii, Dan. I went to Maui. I know
Same
you've been
country.
very beautiful.
Also a state.
I know, but I'm
United
just,
States,
I'm just
50 of
trying to
them.
say it's very far away from where we are on the mainland, okay? So, we were out at a farmer's market in Maui. Dan, I know you've been. Very beautiful island. My heart goes out to the people of Lahaina, by the way. I love Lahaina town.
Oh, they needed that.
why
in
is
this
this-
time
why-
more than ever.
Because
they
I
needed
haven't
that.
been able
This
to
is
say
an
that on the
acceptance
show.
speech.
Why has this become an acceptance speech?
I just wanted to say the people of Lahaina have my heart. I love that little town. Like, it's a beautiful town.
Cured.
And I want to... No, it's not...
The
That
Rock
situation
has a
has been
Cuban
solved.
kid. Dusty Rhodes has a
Thank
Cuban
you.
kid.
Tony.
Tony,
The Lopez brothers are
penalty
Cuban, too.
box.
Oh, wow.
Hold on,
My
Dan,
boy
wait,
can
wait,
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 we
wait,
don't
wait,
let
wait,
my boy
no.
see where this is
I'll
going.
go. Hold on. I'll go.
It's
I will
Friday.
sacrifice.
No
I'll go.
rules, just right.
Just let me
said
finish.
hold on.
So we're at the farmer's market in Maui.
No, I'm not letting you finish.
Just see where it goes.
There was a Cuban
You're
guy
not
making
curious?
pens in Maui, Dan.
Pens.
Out.
Out of made of teak.
Take pins.
Tony.
Last thing,
Out.
I promise. Last
Out.
thing.
Tony. Out, or there will be no MMA hangout tomorrow.
Why is that?
Get out of here.
Said you can't do that.
Like, which part of this are you not understanding? I didn't want an acceptance speech.
He's telling Billy things like, "Hey, say this, say this."
Anya Taylor-Joy in Dune 2 getting incredible reviews. Cuban.
We were headed in a good direction, I think. When he comes back, he'll tell you.
No,
Dan.
you go ahead and tell me. You go ahead.
I
and
kind
tell
of feel like now you
All
should
right.
get the info. You kicked him out. He said there's a Cuban in Egypt selling camels. I don't think he's ever been to Egypt though. So I had family in Las Vegas. What? Yeah.
Still do.
Well, they're still in Las Vegas. They came up to me the last day. I probably shouldn't say this because I'll get in trouble. But whatever.
Yeah, you won't.
Just whisper.
They had things for my daughters, and they on the last day after the live show, after when we're in the middle of the happy hour or whatever it was, they went to the hotel, and my wife told me they're gonna give you something for our daughters.
Shit, you got to bring back.
They showed up with 2 massive bags of things after we've already packed and checked out of the room, and I have a bag that I need to check.
Ouch.
I have a carry-on that's just a backpack, and then they give me these 2 massive bags.
So what'd you do?
And they ask me, how are you going to take this back? And I go, I have no idea. I didn't know I was getting all of this stuff. So I had to go up to a conference room. I had to open my thing, my maletin, and then I had to go and take the stuff out of the bags, repack everything.
Turns out she's Argentinian, but born in Miami, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
I get to the airport. The bag is now 15 pounds over the weight limit. I have to pay $100. Could have just mailed it to me. It would have saved me so much money.
What were they giving you, though?
Just clothes and blankets.
Gifts, but gifts.
Yeah, gifts for the babies. Yeah. You could just mail it to me.
Chris got out of that expense on the overweight bag.
How?
I mean, my bag was over by 3 pounds, and he gave me the look. He's just like, "It's your lucky day." I was
You're
like,
good.
"Wow, thank you."
We had Kirsten here who was over by 5 pounds, and there was 10 of us together, and she just ate it and paid the $100 fee. We're like, why didn't you just hand us your stuff? Amongst all of us, we could have carried the 5 pounds.
No one
a
wants to
pound
be
at a
that
time.
person though, going through your bag, and it's like, God, that's the worst in the airport.
Well,
where it's
and
like,
Chris was dealing with drunk Greg Cody at the time.
Yeah, that's
who
what I
was
was like.
going
I
through
would
the
have paid
security
anything.
gate.
I was like, can I put my dad in there? Can you guys take my dad just under the plane?
Check on your dad.
Billy, are you saying, I want to be clear on this, are you publicly criticizing?
I've no such thing. I don't know where you're going with this, but I know it's not in the right direction.
Man, it must be cold in that penalty box.
Are you public? It's the first time I've seen Tony look insecure.
In the biz, we call that conage.
The nipples got hard in there, and
You got that conage.
That's what happens when he sees the Cuban flag, Dan. His nipples get hard.
Hormones off balance, huh?
Oh, they zoomed in. Oh my god.
Make him dance, Tony.
Hey, nice.
Billy,
Pretty good.
You are not going to distract me with the frozen and sharpened diamond cutting nipples of Tony. You are not going to get me off of the subject, which is, it sounds to me like you publicly criticized Cuban family that brought you many, many pounds of gifts for your baby.
At least 15.
For costing you $100 at the airport. And this is textbook Monday morning quarterbacking on criticism and telling them, don't do it the way that you did it. You should have just mailed it to me. So you are critiquing the family that gave your baby a gift.
No, what I said was thank you.
Well, that's what you said privately.
No, that's what I said publicly. What I said privately was what I just said publicly.
Right.
What you just said publicly is that they should have mailed it to you.
No, I'm just saying.
If they inconvenienced you.
No.
Did we get to the the camel seller in Egypt?
All
or
right,
no?
tell me your story.
Have you been to Egypt?
No, but I know somebody who's been to Egypt, and there's a hustle for every Cuban everywhere. And one of them, a guy got sent over to Egypt, and all these Doctors Without Borders things that Cuba used to do back in the day. He got sent to Egypt. Do people know about that, Dan, or no? Do I have to teach
you
people
want to
about that?
elaborate? Go
Okay,
ahead.
so
go ahead. We're already here.
For whatever reason, Cuba's chief export is medical doctors and nurses.
No, it's shortstops.
I'd say outfielders, but I'd agree.
Corner outfielders.
So Starting pitchers too. That's actually not. And middle relievers.
Yeah, but they all
too.
have like a 4.5 ERA.
Yeah, but they throw. What are you trying to
Jeremy.
do here? What is that?
No, hey, I'm Cuban.
They've been doing it that way.
He
for-
says,
that way.
I mean, yeah, he's got a
he
good
says
point there,
next to the Jose Fernandez frame.
Not
jersey.
that
That's
way.
the whitest anyone's ever sound.
Jeez.
I'm Cuban.
I'm Cuban.
Long story short,
Amado
He's
Salgado
not, he's
said the
not
same
wrong,
thing.
though.
short story
you,
long, Dan.
In fairness, they're
3
older than they
kisses
say
for
they
Jose.
are.
That's what I'm saying.
That is also true.
Also true.
A bit. The birth certificates kind of get forged. Whatever. Not a big deal.
Right.
So for whatever reason, outside of baseball players that have passports that are kind of fudgy and birth certificates that are not real, chief export is medical professionals. So medical professional ends up going to Egypt. They have medical professionals over there. He stopped doing it and said, you know what's a good trade here? Selling camels to people. All of a sudden, guy gets in there,
how many,
sells camels.
in Miami, how many doctors do we have who are now plumbers or mechanics?
Thousands. Like everybody fue un médico en Cuba.
It's true.
Everybody. Or un abogado or whatever, but for sure. So Dan, if we can, I don't know if we can look it up.
Look
But
what up?
Cam-
Tony's
the
friend
camel-
told him that there was a Cuban guy selling camels
exactly.
in Egypt.
Bingo.
So that is how Tony arrives at there is a Cuban
I'm looking
in
it up.
every country.
He's
Guy
only named
selling a-
one country outside of America with a Cuban, and Cuba.
Put these on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Is there a Cuban in every country at Le Batard Show? And is it a gift if it costs you $100?
It was very lovely. It was, and I'm so thankful.
You should have seen how big the bags were, though.
Oh, did
Billy
you
was
see them?
carrying them like this.
It sounds like criticism. You're walking it back now? You're backpedaling.
It was not. I'm very thankful, and it was very nice meeting them. I hadn't met them before because they're family on my wife's side, but there's
The rare family that
So,
you've never met.
hold on, Billy. You
I have a
hadn't
lot
met
of family.
them.
I have family in Cuba I haven't met.
You hadn't met them, and they gave you 3 bags of shit to give to
No,
your
they
kids?
gave me 3 bags of lovely gifts that I needed to
Of
find a
shit.
place to put. No, it was nice. It was clothes. It was blankets. It was
Baby
stuff like
gifts.
that. Yeah, but I wasn't accounting for how generous they were going to be. It's my fault, really, is that I didn't take into account the level of generosity and the greatness of the gifts that I was going to receive and the amount of space that said lovely, wonderful gifts that I'm so appreciative of were going to take up inside of my maletin.
I hate when we get a bag full of hand-me-down clothes.
No, this was new. There was tags on this. I'm
Okay,
telling you, this
'cause,
is
like,
such a
I
nice
don't know.
gift. I just
We
didn't
have,
account
like-
for the space that these lovely gifts were going to take up and how heavy they were.
Yeah, the blankets were heavy. Though.
One of my wife's friends has a daughter a little older than my daughter, so we get like every other month these just bags full of clothes. We end up using like 3 or 4. It's just like wait. She's doing this thing like, oh, I'm so nice to you. It's like, no, you're
It's
just
fake.
You're
She's-
getting rid of your shit.
Exactly
You're just
right.
clearing out your shit, and you want me to
You're
have your
closer
shit.
than Goodwill is.
2 birds, 1 stone.
My wife gets all excited about it. I'm like, no, get these bags out of here. I show up from work like one day a month, and there's just 3 bags of clothes, and I'm like, oh, thanks.
So, Badwill.
It's a gift under false
More of
pretenses.
like convenient will.
It really is. It's like I'm doing a nice thing.
They're
but
not doing it
also-
for me. They're doing it for them.
I will say this, and it's gonna be a long weekend for me after all the things I've said already. But I'll say this: we have a similar situation, and my wife has a friend that will do this as well, and like we'll drop off like boys' clothes with tags because she has a son, and it's like I have 2 daughters, like you're just dumping this.
And then
stuff
she's
here.
like, oh, oops, I must have missed. It's like, no, you did everything on
You'll
purpose.
figure it out. Yeah. It's but great gifts again. So appreciative and thank you. I'm just I do kind of wonder is the Goodwill a little too far and we're coming to a house, gas prices, like what's going on here?
There's a Cubans in Egypt page with 105 likes, so Tony must be right.
Thank you. I also just got word, Dan. You'd be very happy to find this out. I just got word via text. I just got a text right now from my source. An Australian Cuban doing tours in the Outback.
I have just gotten a text as well, and Nick Wright is going to join us here in a little while because he is making himself available.
Is he Cuban?
He is not Cuban. The Goodwill thing is interesting, though, because I've accused my wife of this. Because every time I leave with something from I leave with tax deduction. I leave with a receipt.
Why?
What do you mean? Why?
When I go, I just drop off the bag and I keep it moving. You'd I have someone trying to figure out the value of these things?
Well, yes, because
Why?
it saves money.
I just do a nice thing to do a nice thing.
Dan's got rich people clothes.
I mean, we are giving away stuff that has worth that people would want, but it's also my wife cleaning out the house. And I do believe if Chris Cody's only finding 3 items from several boxes of things, that those people are basically just bringing their trash cans over to your house and saying, here, you want to go through this and see if you find a couple of shirts for your daughter? That's what's happening, and you can't decline it because it's charity, right?
Right,
Because
and they think they're like, here.
But do they think
they want to
they're being
thank
nice?
you?
But
and
are
it's
they,
like,
are they laughing?
thanking me?
Are they laughing on the way over? Are they?
They're definitely relieved of like we got this shit out of the room. Like they're relieved for
Mike,
sure.
what are you guys doing? Mike? What are you doing?
He's doing a thing over here. I saw him.
No,
while I
he's
was
trying
in
to do the
penalty
thing
box.
where
I
he
saw him
lifts
going like
his
this.
shirt
I saw
casually
him
to
going
show
like
that, okay, hey, I can surprise you even though I got the conage on my tits.
He's doing the same thing, so I'm just trying to
like,
one up him.
I recently have lost like 15 pounds of stress weight, so I'll flash it too. Yeah.
Just in the last couple of days since you left.
Since last Friday. Since last Friday.
Before the show ends, we're seeing wieners. I already know it.
God,
Oh no.
Just the direction this is headed.
I'm pretty confident where I
He's
stand.
not here.
Yeah, he's
Can
not-
I be vulnerable for a second? Billy shared, and he was vulnerable there, so I want to be vulnerable. Oh boy. If you find out your spouse or significant other is playing Wordle with somebody that you were unaware there is catching your wife in a Wordle game the same as catching your wife at lunch? Is what I want to ask.
What?
Better get on that.
Yeah.
How can you
Better
play
get on
Wordle
Have a
with
discussion.
someone else?
Don't you play Wordle with someone?
Is it a
My,
dude?
maybe
Words-
I'm,
words
I'm,
with
maybe my
friends.
name. Maybe I'm
Words
saying
with
words with
friends.
friends.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
not
Is it a
words.
dude?
Yeah, no, you should be
The
concerned.
game where you send words
You
back
have
and forth.
generally trouble with words.
Is it
Yes.
is
Words
it a dude?
with friends with benefits.
Yeah, you should be.
Is it a
worried.
dude?
It is a dude.
Oh yeah, okay.
Be concerned.
Words with friends with benefits.
What's the line? Where's the line on like what's going on
All right,
there?
well, you're saying, but this is what you're saying. You're saying because usually some people will have the argument about whether it's worse to find out that your mate, your significant other, is having sex with somebody or in an intimate emotional relationship with someone for
It depends on the words they're using.
many months.
I was curious. I was
But
like,
no,
let me
but-
see your history.
Now, but what you're saying is lunch, if you catch your wife at lunch with a man, you'd be one kind of threatened physically, but you're talking about emotional. Oh my God, he might charm her with words by being clever with words, and that's a weakness of yours.
Yeah, all of everything you said. But this is not me, by the way. This is just a guy I know.
No,
But
yeah,
you
sure.
guys,
Yeah.
any advice? How to handle?
I think you're allowed to play games on your computer with
No.
others,
No.
but no chatting.
But this isn't a two-person game.
No chatting.
You basically play Wordle, and then you just send someone, look how smart I am. If
No.
you're having
What
3
he's saying
turns.
is words with friends, which is that's a game where it goes
I
back and
misspoke.
forth
It's
from
not
phone to
Wordle.
phone.
I'm doing a thing, man. You're totally fine.
All right, cool.
She's not cheating on you.
Is it a Cuban guy?
What were the words?
I'd be worried if it were Tony.
Yeah,
Mommy, rica,
yeah,
wait,
yeah,
got some
Four and a half ERA.
Talagosa,
Yeah, you need to talk to him.
taru.
She brought it up. She brought it up to me. By the way,
What's a 4-letter word for my Cuban friend saying my wife?
it wasn't like I was.
Taru. She's confessing.
It wasn't
Almost
like I
like he
was.
said cook.
I wasn't snooping through her phone. It was like she was just casually mentioning, "Oh, I'm playing with this person." And I'm like,
That's even worse.
Guilty conscience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you? What else are you doing?
You want to watch?
Oh, wow.
What?
Feeling very vulnerable right now.
You should.
Thank you for sharing, Chris. I appreciate. Not since Whittingham have we had someone so willing to throw their vulnerabilities in the air for our piranha consumption. So thank you for doing that. You offer us the vulnerability, and what happens? You get eaten by piranha. You knew it was going to happen. Like, you knew as soon as you offered it, everyone, all of us, you were going to be William H. Macy and Boogie Nights showing up to watch all of your friends have sex with your wife in the driveway. That's what happened.
Spoiler alert, I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah, me either.
Dan.
Jeez.
There's a Cuban in it.
Wow.
Of course there is.
You guys haven't seen Boogie Nights? You haven't seen Boogie Nights?
Came out 2 years after I was born. Oh, Burt Reynolds.
What am I going to do with the young people around here?
Is she cheating?
I felt really good for Clay last night, speaking of vulnerabilities, Chris, because so many guys in this sport have to have the bravado, have to have the sandpaper, the barbed wire, the armor all around them. And Clay has been, I think this is one of the many reasons that he's liked. It's not just that he's a pure shooter and he's kind of a stony surfer guy. He's pretty much himself, and you see the weirdnesses and you see the frailties. So his teammate, I do want to talk about the three-point competition this weekend, the gender war, but I want to show you a clip here of Steph Curry real quick because this seems impossible to me, and it's completely a routine thing for Steph Curry, where he goes in the tunnel and he makes jumpers before practice. People come from all over to see this. There are crowds. He gets hundreds of people every arena he goes to by walking off the court at the end and doing what he's doing here, where that's just asinine, where it's not even from the tunnel in the basket closest to his tunnel. It's from the tunnel throwing a ball overhand into the basket that's, I don't even know how far away that is, but it's a long way away. And so Steph has been the star of that team and the better shooter. Imagine you're Klay Thompson. You're one of the best shooters ever, but the guy in your huddle is better. The guy who plays on your team is better. Imagine also you're Klay Thompson. You're one of the best two-way players in the sport while you're winning the championships, and now you go to the bench. And furthermore, and I don't think this part has been talked about enough, how does Klay feel just in his feelings when he hears that LeBron James could have been traded to the Warriors for a package of Warriors that probably would have included Klay, that Steph Curry would have been signing off? How does this feel to Klay Thompson last night? Maybe he knew it. Maybe his agent knew it. Maybe they were all talking about it and they've got honest friendships. But how does it feel to be Klay Thompson and learn that Steph Curry signed off on the idea that you were going to be traded? Did they talk about that? But anyway, Klay goes off last night. What were the final numbers for Klay Thompson last night? They scored $140. They win at Utah. They are a proud champion. They're not that good this year, but they've been playing well for the last couple of weeks, and people expect them to turn on some sort of switch in the postseason that I don't think they're going to be able to.
It was his first game off the bench since he was a rookie, and he finished with 35 points, 7 of 13 from 3, 13 of 22 from the field. It was really awesome to see him do it. It was great.
How do you guys imagine that feels, though, all of that stuff for Klay? Because it's not
to
just
score 35 points in an NBA game. I have no frame of reference, Dan. Yeah. No idea. Why are you asking us? How do we imagine it feels to score 35 against the Utah Jazz? No idea.
It's not what I was actually asking. What I was asking is, how do you imagine Klay feels to learn that he could have been traded and that's how it ends for him? Draymond gets his money. Steph gets the team. Andrew Wiggins gets his contract. But at the end, he's benched and traded, signed off on by the guys in his own
we talked about this.
Locker room.
He's making among the most
$43 million.
$43 million
okay.
this
and guess what? He gets to come off the bench and play less. He's fine.
Also, I don't think an aging superstar outside of Kobe has been this catered to. They are publicly acknowledging his feelings. They are publicly trying to lift him up. If you saw the highlights from last night like I did, everyone on his team was super happy for him. I mean, this is the life cycle of an aging superstar in that league.
Do you think that has anything to do with the fact that it happened because of injuries? Because I think his career sort of being shortened to where he didn't get to gracefully kind of fall off in the way that superstars normally do. He's someone who, because of an injury during the finals, hasn't come back to be the same. And I wonder if, as a result of all of that, that's why the rest of these guys are like, man, you got shortchanged in the career you could have had.
I'm not even talking about the money. I don't understand why you guys are doing that part of it. I'm talking about, do you get to choose your own ending at the place that made you? Do you get to, when you have made that much money for the economy around it? I'm not talking about money here. I'm talking about he's going to the bench with self-awareness. He's talking out loud about this being the end of his career, and then he finds out. I'm asking you about the interpersonal relationships of how did he find out that, did he read it like the rest of us, that LeBron almost came to the Warriors and that LeBron didn't want to go to the Warriors? Did he read that the way the rest of us did?
I think that team has sort of proven that they're as good as anyone of this century at dealing with the interpersonal relationships that are necessary when you
Yeah.
have someone as volatile
Which is-
as Draymond, which is why they're still together.
He says
the dude
that
in the
even though
face.
someone got punched in the face.
He punched the dude in the face who then had to leave with the money.
Yeah, well, he ended up in Washington, and we see who was right about that.
I know, but you can't say they're as good at anybody in navigating these things when
Kevin Durant
Well,
didn't-
they've been able to overcome it, though.
Kevin
like, that would be my
Durant didn't
point.
want to be there anymore. Like he didn't. Look at what's happened to his career since. Kevin Durant is a nomad ever since winning the championship.
Well, that only proves the point further, right? Is that he left and hasn't been able to figure out any of those dynamics elsewhere where he was winning back-to-back championships with the Warriors.
My point is this, and this is the prism I'm looking at it through. I'm looking at it only through Clay's. Okay, so Draymond's going to get the long-term security from my team while we're trying to trade for LeBron. Andrew Wiggins is going to be somebody who comes in and is our second player on a championship. I get hurt at the end. We fall apart. My body falls apart. I am a new player upon my return. I think that Klay Thompson has been unusually open and honest about what happens to mental frailties. You guys are talking about $42 million. Yes, but everybody in that locker room makes that. Like everyone that they're looking at when they look at each other, those guys aren't counting dollars when they're being sent to the bench.
Draymond has very publicly counted dollars.
When they're being sent to the bench, when you're a Hall of Famer who's being told at the end, it's the end, go sit over there. You're not as useful as you used to be to us. I'm telling you that athletes that age don't look in a mirror and see that way. They don't usually have that kind of self-awareness.
But Dan, that's the life cycle of an NBA player, right? You're great until you're not, regardless of if it's injury, if it's being old. Like Ray Allen, arguably one of the greatest three-point shooters of all time, was a star until it's like, hey, you're going to be a role player. Klay is now moving into that time where this is signifying, all right, you're coming off the bench. Look how good you can be off the bench with limited minutes, not having to take the whole brunt of being a starter and playing all of those minutes. This could be the next evolution for him in the next 5 years where he's a legitimate bench piece.
Can you guys get for me, Billy? I don't know how it is that you feel about this because this may be a form of torture that I am administering to you right now, given what your Super Bowl week was. Stugotz is not here today, but I miss his presence because I miss the echoey fake laughter that is the soundtrack to my entire life. I didn't get to partake in this on Radio Row, Stugotz as his crutch, not allowing for silence in interviews, laughing the entire time as a way to give him filibuster time in order to ask the question. Billy, how much of this has been swirling and circling around in your dreams over the last weekend? Play the clip, please.
All right, let's see what I'm doing. I gotta. So it's good that they doing like the street dance and stuff. No, they say.
Breeze, you're gonna be fine.
That's not all the time.
Crazy.
Leading us.
Quicker picker.
Hey, I
Good. And still I suck again. That's what I'm doing. You're digging it deeper. Done. Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love it. How you do it, bro? all these things make. We'll see you later. That's how we play. All good. It's Matt. The greatest thing in the world. I mean, the greatest thing in the world. I say, oh, we didn't get it right. Let's do it again. Oh, we messed that up. Sorry. Yeah.
All right, so we have. Nice.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. You got the 22-23.
So thank you. That's what.
It's carnival games. It doesn't matter. That's exactly right. Game. Exactly right. And back home. I'm back. It's a big life. Okay. We'll get it done.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
No, I mean, you know.
Michael's smiling.
It's crazy.
Michael, nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah. Come on, give it to me.
Front page, or put it on the board
You
for
slipped
me.
them 100.
Exactly. Just checks out.
Can I tell you the thing that
We got him.
Tom Brady?
Hey, they spent a lot of money on this thing.
What is this?
For never.
I gotta say, you really are. You don't have a stupid face.
Peter is off the charts right now.
I was honest with you.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm born.
Okay. Here's the thing, though, doggy. Here's the
Boy, that is bad memories for me because I had to make a similar supercut of him laughing. It was like, what, 7-8 minutes of him
It was
laughing?
9 minutes to the Stupidity supercut. Yeah. That handshake with Mad Dog Russo at the end was the most painful part about all that. Can you guys just show that?
Billy's face the whole time.
Billy, you looked like you were hurting.
I hate it. I mean, because we did good work, and it just undercuts everything that we did, showing that highlight
You
reel.
really did do
And I
good
also
work.
asked, like, hey, can someone get us, like, a good highlight reel of all the interviews we did? And I'm still
There you
waiting
go.
on that. But, look, someone quickly turned around to let's highlight how shitty it was. So it's great. Thanks, guys.
I'm sorry they did that to you. I didn't know that they did that to you. They just told me we have some Stugotz laughing, and I didn't know it was 2 minutes long. When they said in my ear, 1 minute left, I couldn't believe how long it was.
Well, and that's, like, only a third of the interviews that we did, so I'm sure it could have been longer.
Oh, that's painful.
There it is. Fist me.
What? Are they recreating the God Bless Football logo?
Carl Rudders and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what they're recreating.
That is sports media's version of the Predator handshake right there.
Carl Weathers. Put that behind me again so that people can see the Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator handshake.
Side by side.
Yeah, put these side by side so that people can see. Russo, by the way, I don't know if you guys read this. Quiet as it's kept. Russo, multi-year extension signed at First Take. He was making $10,000 a show before while eating gummies and betting God knows how much money on games. Now what are they paying him? Multi-year extension for Mad Dog Russo. What a career resurgence.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, Dano. Let me tell you that.
Multi-year extension. Billy, why are you looking at Tony?
What did that add to
Hey,
the
watch another
Killing time, baby.
Lucy's not here today, and she said yesterday, because I wanted to celebrate with her, the Caitlin Clark setting the scoring record, and she says she's not working today. And furthermore, because Lucy now says that there are bitches everywhere for her in the friendship bracket. Like, she can't get enough friends now that she's a little
Her
more,
words.
Yeah, her words. That's her words.
Quote, just clarifying.
I'm quoting her, yes.
Yeah, just making sure.
It's
for those that don't listen
It's
every day.
raining bitches, according to Lucy, yes, because she was looking for friends. She did a PowerPoint seeking friends, and now she's got a ton of friends in Las Vegas and elsewhere. And she's on a friend date this morning and said she didn't have time for us to talk about the most exciting day of her sports life. Okay, you guys have brought her up, though. You've called her. She said she wasn't going to answer. This is very exciting. Okay, is she on the way to her friend date? What is happening, Lucy? Tell me where you are. What's happening right now?
My friend Lisa is inside. She does not want to be on camera, and I'm not going to do that to her. So I'm outside. She's watching my stuff. It was a normal morning until you called.
Okay, but this is a date. This is a successful Friday. You right now are dating so many friends that you now have Friday morning dates.
Well, yes, I won't say so many friends. I would say 1.5, which is pretty good. That's way more than I had before. So I count Lisa as the one. The half, I would say, is the Bumble girl I met like 2 weeks ago. I just don't know if I'm going to reach out to her again. I liked her, but I don't know if she's my forever pal.
Okay, that's good to get that update. But I thought you had you had like dozens of friends in Vegas. You were smoking cigarettes. You were crazed.
Yes. Well, those were friends I already had, and they live in Los Angeles, and they don't live here, which I love them a lot, but they're not as useful when they don't live next to me. We can't really hang out, you know?
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted your friend date, but can you just give us the best you got on Caitlin Clark?
Well, let me just tell you this, Dan. She needed 8 points last night. She got 49. 49 points. Not only did she break the NCAA scoring record all time, she broke the Iowa single game record and had a career high. She's amazing. She's perfect. And the shot, 2.5 minutes in the game on a logo three. On a logo three. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. They had a tribute video to her at the end. I sobbed. I cried. I'm so happy for her, and she's going to break the all-time scoring record in like 2 games. 3 games.
Not to be this guy, and I understand logo 3 is impressive, but those logos are getting pretty big.
They're getting bigger and bigger, the logos.
Those logos keep getting bigger.
You know what, Dan? You do it then. Go out.
Oh, that's
shoot
good.
a logo 3.
Why would you say that, Dan?
Probably could.
How could you?
Yeah.
You probably could.
Come after Caitlin Clark.
I will tell anybody who will listen that the NBA 3 is a million miles away, and
It is so far.
nobody understands how far it is because those guys make it look like it's easy. And a logo 3 is a logo 3 from anywhere, but it's indisputable that those logos are getting larger.
It's a mid-range jumper now.
Then you do it. Okay. Do it, Dan.
Do it, Dan.
You're talking all this talk.
Set the all-time scoring record, Dan. I dare
Pizza
you.
Arena's right across the street. We can
Do
make
it
it
right
happen.
now.
Tell me more about last night for you emotionally. Like, where does it rank in terms of sports emotions? You're a crier. You cry on every college football field you're ever
I am a
on.
crier. I would say it was my favorite moment all time. Not all time. I think Iowa beating South Carolina in the Final Four last year was my favorite like fan moment. It's just like being an Iowa fan. But it was so special to just for her to do that in front of the home crowd, for her to do it the way she did with the logo 3, like it was one of those like remarkable moments where I'm tweeting about it and all these people are responding being like, my wife doesn't really love sports. My daughter doesn't really love sports, but they have asked to watch every single Caitlin Clark game and just understanding what she's done for the state of Iowa, for women's basketball. It has been so remarkable. It was so beautiful. I cried during the tribute video. That's what really got me. When I saw her family saying how proud of her she was, I was like, they're not as proud as me. So I feel what they're feeling. It was so special.
It really is nuts what a great shooter she is. Like,
she's spectacular.
It's just crazy.
It was a bomb, by the way. I just saw it. It was a bomb.
I was just teasing. Like, of course.
65 feet.
You could never do that.
No, and
I could.
And she made it look graceful, and it's like she's pulling up from there, and you have to guard her from Gary. It's asinine. Like it's just asinine.
I think one of the things that gets lost about Caitlin's game is like she is an insane shooter. Anywhere on the court you have to guard her, but she moves the ball so well. It's something that you don't notice as well until you see it in person, but like her teammates are constantly saying, I had no idea I was open. Caitlin saw things like 10 steps ahead of what everything else was. Like, she is just so remarkable in just every facet of the game. And you know what was so great? Halftime, they were like, Caitlin, you broke the record. How do you feel? She said, it's cool. We need to defend better. And I said, that's my girl. I'm so proud of you. Get the win.
We're just going to let Lucy say that she was more proud than Caitlin's parents.
Because I was.
I think she was.
It sounds
I
like she
absolutely was. They weren't crying. I was crying.
She's doubling down. She's not afraid.
Well, they weren't crying, Dan.
She's not afraid of your criticism. All right, go back and enjoy.
Wait, hold on. I have a question before she goes. So she did work. Is this now a business lunch that she can expense?
Me? Oh, that's a great idea. Can I tell Lisa you're paying for breakfast?
Sure. That's fine, Lucy. Thank you for working.
Lisa, Dan's paying for our breakfast.
Lisa stole your purse.
She said, we already paid. And she
Oh,
was
that's
really
too
confused.
bad. That's too
That's all right.
Get the receipt. Get the receipt. Yes, Venmo.
Ramp that.
I have the receipt.
Your money, your
Venmo.
move.
See you later, Lucy. Happy for you, and happy that friendships are blossoming.
I was getting bitches left and right.
Thanks for calling during my friend date. It was
All
super
right.
normal and not weird at all.
Hey, if you also want to see a women's college basketball superstar firing away from the logo,
I'm excited about
but you
this.
don't have tickets, let me tell you how to get those tickets without any nonsense, without any hidden fees, upfront pricing. You know exactly what you get. In fact, you can also get killer last-minute deals with their flash deals. I'm talking, of course, about Game Time. Guys, I used Game Time last week. A new album dropped this week, and one of my favorite bands, they're on tour, and I saw tickets for below face value on Game Time, and that includes all the other fees. You know, a lot of these other apps, they hide those. I know exactly what I'm paying. No surprises. I can go in the interface of the app, and I can see exactly where I'm sitting, and it always comes out exactly what I'm expecting. That's what you love about Game Time. No surprises. I want you to take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Do that with Game Time. Download the Game Time app right now. Create an account and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. That's right. If you find a lower price out there that's not on Game Time, they will match, and you will be guaranteed a great time.
So Mike is telling you that on merit, and I will endorse that this way by telling you, our audience, because Mike believes in that, and Game Time believes in us, to please support the people who support us, because as we are independent, Game Time has been a strong supporter, and they're offering you a service that once you try it, you will see that it will save you money. And Billy is our resident money saver around here for you guys, and you love him because he always brings you value and coupons. And what Mike is telling you here is that Game Time, if you care about the sports stuff.
Not just sports, Dan. I got Donut Mart tickets on Game Time.
Yeah, beyond that. Music, sports, entertainment.
I got tickets to Wicked the Musical.
Of course you did.
Yep.
Got tickets to Shane Gillis on Game Time.
Of course you did.
Where is he performing?
I was trying not to name names, but if we're doing that, shout out to Idols. I love that album.
There you go.
Is that the Wicked, the story you haven't told that you went all excited you were going to New York to see?
No, that was funny, girl. I'll save it. We were talking about it on Mystery Crate. I'll save it.
You're gonna. Oh wow, you're gonna embargo.
It's really not a good story.
No, it's too bad that we don't get the musical stories here.
Well, we've been waiting the musical story for about
Yes.
It's been
7
10
months
months.
now.
Please,
It's been 10 months.
Please, I want more of the theater kid. Please.
Well,
It's a character we haven't had around
What's
here.
wrong
Please.
with theater kids?
Yeah, that's not very nice, Dan.
I'm a theater kid.
I like being a theater kid. I'm proud of it. There are dozens of
It's
us
obvious,
around this show, Dan.
Jeremy, it's obvious.
Dan, if you want to love Leah Michelle, you don't want to hear this story.
For real. She can't read.
Put them in a bad way.
Let's talk for a second about the only thing I care about in this All-Star game weekend that's coming up. And I will tell you, follow Amin and Charlotte Oddball. They are there, and they are covering the hell out of it. I felt bad for Carl. Carl left Vegas and all of that, all of us on our knees, and immediately lands at the All-Star game to have to do all of that again for Oddball and others, because Metal Arc Media is blossoming and we're covering the All-Star game. But Steph versus Sabrina, do I have this wrong? Because I haven't looked at the numbers. All I'm remembering about Sabrina's last three-point shooting contest is that she made everything. And I thought to myself as I was watching, I don't think I've ever seen someone make that many threes before. male, man, woman, anything. And now it's going to be Steph against Sabrina from the NBA 3-point line. I think I'd like to see it the other way.
I think the other way, Chris Cody was workshopping a take where Steph actually has to shoot from the WNBA 3-point line.
I think I'd like to see it that way.
I think that would mess with Steph's head a little bit more because he's not a huge mid-range jumper guy. Why take a mid-range jumper when you're the greatest 3-point shooter ever there? This is a no-win position, I don't think, because if Sabrina ends up beating Steph, people are going to allege that Steph took a dive, where Sabrina is a really great shooter. As you mentioned, you've seen her compete in these things before. It's also like a weird head-to-head type of battle because it's not like you can get out there and close out on a shooter. You know, someone else can get hot. It's not like the rack plays defense against you. I don't really know what this proves, but I'm really excited to see that and the LED court that's going to be used for all these skills competitions out there. This is going to feel very futuristic.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think I'm wrong about this. You say it's a no-win position for Steph?
Yeah. I mean, what does he do? If he drags Sabrina, he's going to appear like a bully.
No.
If he loses, everyone's going to assume that the greatest NBA shooter, not everyone, but people on Twitter, that's going to be the discourse. It's going to be toxic.
I would like for you guys to tell me if you think I'm wrong here. I believe Steph Curry has an advantage, a built-in advantage by doing it from the NBA 3-point line.
Zone.
He should have to do it. He should have to do it from the other. Let's make it.
Danny threw a shot from across the court
Tony,
in a tunnel and made it. I think he can manage to do it a couple feet closer.
Guys, he does thousands a week from this one spot. I know that statistically your numbers improve.
Take away his advantage. He's got an advantage here.
What's the line, Curry and Scoop?
I'm seeing Steph Curry at -230 and Sabrina's at +176.
That's actually a lot of respect.
She made 25 of 27 the last time she did it. But am I wrong when I'm saying, correct me if I'm wrong, this is an advantage for Steph. They're making it, this is not equality. This is Steph has the advantage. He takes thousands of shots from there every day.
She was the one that said it, I'll shoot from the NBA 3-point line. She came out on Twitter and said it, hey, I'll do it. We'll match up the same way. I don't have to shoot women's line. You don't have to shoot men's line. We'll all shoot the same way. So she's the one that said it.
She
so
obviously,
she has an advantage
she's
too.
obviously done it enough to feel confident from there, but I'm with you. I think he should.
I think we're all saying the same thing here. It's harder to be a man.
Yes.
I'm saying the man has all the advantages. The man has all the advantages.
Someone with the guts.
Can I pull up?
What did you just do? What did you just do?
I was laying out for a funny joke.